Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. We're back, Rubber Duck Thursdays. Hope you're all doing well. And just to jump in on the chat quickly happening on stream, please do stop the spamming. Otherwise, I'll have to jump across and unfortunately remove some people from the stream. So please, please do play nice. Please do not spam. And of course, if you're doing anything, it should be respectful of GitHub's code of conduct for events, etc. So please, please do make sure you're abiding by that. So thank you, folks. So, good morning. We are back for Rubber Duck Thursdays. This is our first one of 2026, so Happy New Year. First things first, like normal, where are you tuning in from? I'm in the UK. It's been very cold, very wintry, because obviously Northern Hemisphere, it's winter right now. So it's been we actually had snow where I live as well, which is occasionally happens, but normally it's like March time we get it. So it's very strange to get that. Would love to know, where are you tuning in from? Were there any great things that you were able to do over the break? Hopefully you had a break. And what did you work on? Because I'm assuming that some of us worked on some things. I definitely did. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So I wanted to kind of walk you through what I built, what I've been doing, and just talk through a bit of fun stuff. So for anyone who is unaware, hasn't joined the stream before, completely okay. That is a great New Year's resolution to come and join us. This is Rubber Duck Thursdays. Every week, generally, we try to do every week. We stream live on a Thursday, and it's a very informal stream. It's very casual, as you can tell from the vibe right now. And we just build stuff. We just go and make things, because that's how we learn as developers, right? We build things, we break things, and we have fun along the way. So that's really the plan for today. So what I want to do today is show you something I've been building, and we'll carry on building a bit more of it. And it is open source, so I will share a link as well. And we'll go from there. So let me just tune into the chat, see what's going on. Wow, everyone's been busy responding now. So good morning, Joseph. Sorry, just scrolling through the chats. Okay. Hello, Sergey. Hello, Marcos. Marlon, Joseph from Swiss. Hello, Zane. Hi. Ivan, good morning, good morning. Lee, let's go indeed. 2026, first stream, let's go. Aniket, hello. Sylvester, hi. And Happy New Year, Aniket. Marlon, good. Surly, hello, my friend. Good to see you. Hopefully you saw the new loading animation that we had. Spoiler, we might be talking a bit more about that during the stream. Athava, hello world, absolutely. Said, hello. Aniket, no worries. Thank you for being on board. Justin, Happy New Year from Germany. Snowstorm incoming. Oh, geez. Yeah, it seems to be the time of the year this year, strangely. Roxana, hello. Said, hello. Andrea, Amsterdam, next to the GitHub office. Great. Well, if you bump into any of my amazing colleagues, you'll have to say hello. It's a great office. I haven't had a chance to go to the new one yet, I don't think. So, on my list to go and do. Lee, Amsterdam, freezing and a lot of snow. Yeah, sounds like it's the time, doesn't it? Michael, USA, Massachusetts. Must be very early there. Thank you for joining us so early. As well as Shira, Waterloo in Canada, amazing. Berlin, very snowy. Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, Milan, amazing. Fort Wayne, Indiana, amazing. Cloud Branch, welcome. Vitor, north of Brazil, best paradise, amazing. Ivan from Madrid, Spain. Accra, Ghana, Christian. Dearsley, Gloucestershire. Sorry, I don't see your name LinkedIn user. It just appears as LinkedIn user for me, but I get that. I'm based near Reading in the UK, and it's very grey and cloudy and miserable today, so I get that. But hopefully this will bring a bit of joy today. Robin from India, and I guess now we're getting into what people were building from Zika. Pie game firework. Ah, so is that like a game with fireworks or something? Would love to know more. Michael, OAuth and MCP, amazing, very, very relevant. We've done a bit about MCP in the stream previously, but we haven't done the OAuth side yet. Because we built a game kind of turn-based game MCP server, and we didn't really need an OAuth implementation for it. We could, but that's interesting though. Definitely the right way to go, because the whole security and permission side is super important. What else have we got? Ibrahim, Happy New Year to you. Marcos from Salamanca, Spain. Andrea, IT databases DevOps software. Amazing. Prem, hello friends. Hello to you. Earlier, you used Copilot to create an app to connect to SQL Server, list databases, and allow you to browse the table schema definitions from a command line app using console as a UI. Amazing. So it's effectively like a database viewer, but in the command line. Amazing. Great work. Michael, first Rubber Duck Thursdays. Well, hopefully the first of many. Please do be one of our regulars, like a few folks that I see in the chat here. So thank you again for being here with us. Zane from Pakistan, Lahore. Hopefully I've got that correct. Michael, London. You worked on 2 dev tools, partly to help you learn Rust. Again, Rust is one of those things, I've said it on the channel before, that I really want to go deeper in. And I just never find the time to kind of do it. I always go to my default choices of like Python, of TypeScript, of Go, and that's just personal preference. So I do need to find a project to get me into Rust. So I'd love to know what you've been working on. Regensburg, Snow Chaos. Oh, geez, sorry for that. Alan, Atlanta, amazing. Satyan, India, different cities, different weathers. So the climate, even between kind of local cities, changes. Amazing. Done the first Microsoft Applied Skills this year and Fundamentals of Microsoft Certified. So a lot of learning. Amazing. A cold Cullinan. Words are a struggle today. Nagwa, hello. Saeed, hello. Jeffrey, hello. Anakin, Jose, Jagriti, Ali Reza. Wow, everyone's really, really engaging today. I love it. I'm going to skip past a few for now, just so we can start getting into some things, because otherwise I'm just going to be saying hello to everyone for the whole stream. So hello to you all, and thank you for being with us. So I already saw one of the questions in the stream, which is very good. What are we building today? Which is a very, very pertinent question. So can anyone remember who was on the stream before the new year and what it is that we were building, what it is that we were doing? Let me know. I would love to know. I have been carrying on with that. And I've done it in a way that is extensible and is open source. So it's been a bit of a passion project. By no means is it complete. I think all of these things are never complete. Always an ongoing project. Mohammed, what's going on today? So we are going to be building, or I'm going to tell you what I've been building, which is go. A open source project for like a countdown timer. So the timer that you saw on screen before the stream there was very different to the ones that we've had for previous videos, very different for previous streams, because it was an app that we were using. So I've built this kind of open source project called Timestamp. I managed to get it published yesterday. And the idea is that you can go and build multiple different themes for them. So let me go and just put a link in the chat. itch.io/timestamp. I'm going to check that I got it right first before I send it across. Great. Let's put that in the chat for you all. There you go. And I'm also going to put a little banner on the screen, so you've got that. We go. Amazing. So it's gh.io timestamp. You can go and take a look at that and check it out. So yeah, what it is, if I actually go back to the app itself now, it is an app, and I'm going to zoom in just a touch so you can see that a bit better. It's an app that you can go and build your own countdowns. So, of course, as devs, we like our light mode, we like our dark mode, and we've got a system theme here as well. And you can search for different themes. It's deliberately built to be as accessible as possible. I did have some regressions, so I was kind of fixing bugs as I was iterating on stuff. And you can see we've got a number of these different themes here as well. So I've built a couple of themes already. So the one that you saw before the stream was the contribution graph theme. I've also got like a fireworks celebration theme, which is actually relying on the fireworks.js open source project as well. So you'll see there's a little kind of pop-up tooltip kind of thing to show what different themes are powered by. So there's cool different experiences, or at least I'm biased. I think they're cool anyway. So you've got this local time mode here. Oh, let me refresh because it defaults to what the last timer was. So you can see we can now count them to 2027 because, that was what kicked this off, right? Was the Happy New Year. Let me actually change my screen around a bit. For anyone who remembers, last time we had a lot of trouble trying to generate a world map. We've now got a world map that is super interactive and is a wall clock. So you'll see that as I click on different locations or on the drop down here for the timers, we go to a different time as well. So that's pretty cool. You can do the same moment for like a product launch or something like that. So if like you've got a product launch like 3 p.m. in whatever time, you can go and do that. And then a timer as well, like the 5-minute timer. Do 5 things there. World. And then you can go and get that animation that we had there as well. And I'll show you the other theme in a sec. But that text then is customizable, so you got the hello world there as well. So that was pretty cool. It was really surprisingly. Let me bring myself full screen. It was surprisingly a lot of work. A lot of work because I wanted to make sure it was extensible. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just like 1 or 2 themes and that's it. I wanted to make sure that it was very welcoming if anyone wants to contribute a new theme and bring something into the project. And I wanted to make sure that it was, using good architectural principles, etc. I'm by no means the best UI developer. So if anyone is a very good deep UI dev, please do look at the contribution graph one, because I'm sure there's some performance optimizations that can be made there. But this is the joy of open source, right? Is we start something, we kind of build and iterate and something together. So that's what I built. And let me show you the fireworks one super quickly as well. Just so we've done all of that. Let's do another. You know what? We're going to do a minute because, again, this is one of the cool things. In fact, before we show it, have any of you ever been on a project? Maybe not a work one. A work one should, in theory, be a little more well scoped. But a project like one of your personal passion projects, you're like, right, let's start building this thing. And it's going to be this. But then you've built that and you're like, as I'm using that, I'd love if it did this as well. I'd love if it did this, and I'd love if it did this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And so that's exactly what happened with this project. It started off with one thing. I got the theme selectors. It was very messy. The architecture wasn't very well separated and separation of concerns. Then I wanted to make sure that accessibility was kind of baked into the orchestrator, because I'll explain a bit of the architecture as well. Then I wanted light and dark mode. Then I wanted full screen. Then I wanted all these different things, and it kind of kept rolling and rolling and rolling into what you see here today. So yeah, it was fun. It was one of those things where I was building for enjoyment. I was building for just for fun, learning, and just pushing myself and challenging myself as well. So yeah, let's go and see the fireworks one. And then you can see, and this is one of my favorite things as well, is it's not just the countdown timer that changes, it's the background into that configuration page as well. So you'll see, like, now we're on that fireworks theme. I don't know if it shows up as well on the stream, but you've got stars which animate there as well, which is pretty cool. So if we then go for a 1 minute countdown, so imagine it was like Happy New Year again. We're counting down to 2027. We've got our light and our dark mode here. So for this theme, it doesn't quite change the sky or anything, but it changes that light and dark mode there. Theme switcher built in there then as well. And you'll see occasionally we've got these fireworks which are kind of popping up. And then at the end, it kind of gradually builds up and builds up where you get all of these fireworks going off at once. So it was a lot of fun to go and build. And again, I'll share the link. So if you want to go and look, you want to go and contribute, even just learn from kind of what I've built and how I've built, please do. Again, I'm sure everything is not perfect because none of us write perfect code and perfect things. So I'm sure you'll see some opportunities to improve and suggestions, etc. But there we go. We can see as you get to the kind of new year, we've got that animation there in the fireworks. So yeah, so it's been a pretty fun project. Lots and lots of different things learning. So what I did is I took what we built last time, tried bringing it together, and arguably that was, to be honest, because I had the contribution graph that I made ahead of the last stream, and then that fireworks one that we made last stream, and they were both very different in the way they were kind of built. So trying to bring it together is what took a lot of the time to kind of bring that consistency and really sort out the arc, basically. So what is the tech stack? I saw the question in there somewhere. It's a great question. And I saw someone ask about Nuxt a bit earlier on. Honestly, it is just vanilla TypeScript. I did think, when I started bringing them together, do I want to go for a framework? And in hindsight, might have been easier for some bits. But on the other, a lot of my roots as a dev, I did a lot of work in like Ruby on Rails. I did a lot of work with like that model view controller kind of setup. So it was kind of fun to build that, think about like those architectural pieces of like, what does the orchestrator need, like the core of the app? What does the theme need? The separation of concerns. That's the kind of stuff I enjoy, is that more architectural piece. And so it allowed me to do a bit of that. And then trying to weave in this theme stuff then as well. And what's my name? My name is Chris Abdul, Chris. So you can see it just down here on the stream. Yeah, hello. It is live, just in case you had any questions. But let me know. So yeah, vanilla TypeScript. And in fact, actually, if I bring the app back, again, something that was super important to me was showing in the footer what the app uses. So the map data for that SVG that renders in the bottom corner, if you're in wall clock mode, that uses data from Natural Earth. So it's a public main data set that you can use for world maps. We're using Oct icons, so the icons from GitHub's Primer open source project. So, the plus, the GitHub logo, the icons up here, these are emojis. So, those aren't part of that. But then the things that you see on the page here as well are all from the Oct icons project. What else have we got? We've got playwrights being used a ton. So fun story. And I think you might be like, what? As I say this next line, I think there's around 2,500 unit tests and 300 end-to-end playwright tests, which I'm still consolidating. I'm sure some of that is tech debt that I need to clean down. But I really wanted to try and make sure as much as possible there was good testing in place. Because again, those separations of concerns, making sure that each kind of module is doing the thing it's supposed to go and do, super important, especially for a system where open source, we want to go and allow people to do new themes, etc. We want to make sure everything is kind of well tested in there. SunCalc as well is another open source project. So when you see this, let me go back to the world clock. Local time. Let's do sometime in the future. There we go. So you see this kind of, I forget the name of it, but the light and dark of the world, that is relying upon SunCalc, so the calculations to figure out where light and dark is in the world based on current date, etc., etc. And then TypeScript is really what I used, to be honest. TypeScript, Vite, and then Vitest as well for my testing framework and testing art. So yeah, no kind of framework, really just vanilla TypeScript, building it all up with the support of my trusty companion, GitHub Copilot. And that'll be something really interesting for anyone who's been thinking about Copilot instructions, custom agents, prompt files. Take a look at the repo, because you'll see a ton of different examples of how I used all of those together to go and build this. So again, there's the link if you want it, gh.io/timestamp. I'm going to take a moment just to have a quick drink while the banner is hiding my face. There we go. So that's what we've been building. It's got, there we go. It's got a load of GitHub features built into it, unsurprisingly. Using GitHub Actions an absolute ton. GitHub code spaces, if anyone wants to go and contribute, they can spin up an environment easily enough. I've been doing all of mine on my local machine. We have got obviously a ton of Copilot stuff that I just mentioned in there. GitHub Advanced Security is enabled as well. So Dependabot, which isn't part of GitHub Advanced Security, but Dependabot is configured. So I get my weekly updates in terms of my dependencies. We've got secret scanning and push protection enabled, and CodeQL enabled as well to do my code scanning. So it's got just a ton of stuff that if you want to go and kind of either learn or you want to go and contribute, you're very, very welcome to. So hence why open source and trying that out. Yeah, German. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name. Please let me know. But yeah, the map feature was pretty cool. It took a lot of iterations with Copilot to get it right, just in terms of like what the underlying SVG looked like, in terms of then how that should kind of play in terms of that visual, and integrating with SunCalc then to kind of do those calculations. But yeah, that was a fun part to go and do. I really wanted to have that world map selector because of that wall clock mode. Where if you're in Los Angeles or if you're in Berlin or if you're in Sydney, for example, having that visual. Because yeah, drop down is cool, but seeing that solar kind of line in terms of where night and dark is, was pretty cool. That was the fun part. A lot of it was just fun to go and build, to be honest. Let me see what the... So Alan, yeah, great question. Was this developed using Copilot, VS Code customizations, instructions agents, agent skills, prompt MDs? Absolutely it was. So go and take a look at the project. You will go and see, if I zoom in and move myself down a bit, there we go. There's a load of different folders in here. Actually, I've been working with a load of different teams since the VS Code team, the Copilot team, on things that I learned and kind of some areas of refinement and things we can kind of learn as well based on all of this. But yeah, we've got a load of instructions in here. I've got this idea of a manager, which then can then go and manage like specialists, so kind of sub-agents. That is something which I think is experimental in VS Code right now, but that's pretty cool. I've got instructions on like if a user updates an assets file, they should update it in the root folder. I've got instructions. This is one of my favorites, actually, the GitHub Actions one. So anytime that we're authoring GitHub Action workflows, make sure that we're following the recommended practices for like minimal permissions, permissions per job, and sharpening. This one is really cool. I'm sure some of you have had it where, large language models, they'll go and give, kind of non-deterministic answers, and that could mean like an outdated workflow trial, for example. So what I've got in here is anytime it's making workflow changes, research the latest release for that. So go and do either a web fetch or use the GitHub MCP server, get the commit SHA of that release, and then include the version number of that as well. So anytime the Copilot is updating GitHub Actions for me, or even creating new ones, it will follow that. That's been really, really cool. And then some conventions that are important to me, like not hard coding node versions, just putting that in a .node version file, and a load of the other recommendations that kind of come from the GitHub docs there. Well, I've included those there. So again, I've really deliberately tried to make these files not just a instruction file for like Copilot, but if anyone from the community was kind of wanting to learn, there's links back to the GitHub docs, there's links back to other files that are referenced in there as well. So they've got all of that in there. One of the things, just going back to your kind of question around customizations, instructions, agents, all of those, is, oops, I mean to click on my commit there. Oops, let me go back. There we go. What was I saying? Testing. Testing is super important. But actually, it wasn't testing that I was going to talk about. It was documentation. That's what I was going to talk about. But I suppose testing as well is kind of the same. What I have done in the files is also kind of tried to separate concerns out in my instruction files. So for example, I've got this documentation standards doc intended to be the single source of truth. So, this file defines all TS-doc and inline comment standards for the project. So rather than saying, make sure that my TS-docs are appropriate and following conventions, like what does that mean? I think last time when we had the stream, someone was like, oh yeah, performance is important. How do I make Copilot be performant? But or rather, how do I make Copilot build performant apps? What does performance actually mean? Like, what is that as a requirement? So you can see as an example, one of the things that I've been really focused on is that my TS-doc lengths are proportional to the function complexity. So what I found when I started writing this and building it and having Copilot help me document the code and things like that, is it was really good at explaining the code to the extent I had like TS-doc kind of sections, which were maybe 15 lines of code, like a 2, 3, 4, 5 line method. But that was because of the way that I wrote the instructions. I was saying that, hey, actually, you need to go and make sure that everything is documented, that we always have parameters, that we always have this, etc. So it wasn't really kind of contextualizing like what it was commenting. It was just following the instructions I gave it. And I think that's one of the important things we've talked about so many times in the channel on this stream, is that kind of iteration process of what you work on. If you're working on those instructions or those agents, iterate on them. iterate. So that's what I found is my first, honestly, few iterations of these instructions were not giving me the results that I wanted, to put it that way. So, when to use single line TS doc, and lightweight documentation, quality checklist, right sizing. So this is literally a real example from the code that I had. We've got a 4-line method there. Do we really need, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 lines for that one method? Probably not. So there we go. You can do the same in one line. And again, this is just the conventions that I've put in place for my project that I think should be in place. You may all disagree. We've got the whole light or dark mode debate, tabs and spaces. Some of the standards in here may be different to what you use, and that's okay. But just kind of wanted to show that process that I went through to go and find some of this. The other thing that was really important is knowing the difference between custom instructions, custom agents, and prompt files. Who here thinks they already know the difference between those? Who here thinks they've got a really good understanding of when the difference is of using custom instructions, custom agents? I thought I did. And I would say I did, to be honest. But through this again as well, it really made me think, where should certain optimizations go? And so let's maybe look at an example. Let's look at agents. You can see in here I've got a load of different agents. I will go and look at one of my specialists. Let's look at code quality. Code quality is cool. So in there, I specify, in fact, let's go back to VS Code. Let's jump over to VS Code and take a look at it. Agents, specialist, code quality, there we go. So, a few things about this file is good to observe, good to understand. The structure. One of the things, and again, did a ton of research across what Anthropic, what OpenAI, what Google, what GitHub, what all of the different kind of AI folks kind of say in terms of how you write instructions and how you structure. The main important thing is being consistent and being structured. So you can see here that we've kind of got the markdown in there as well. That's just the convention I've used. But I've got these XML tags as well. So talking about role boundaries first off, what it is that the agent does, and importantly, what the agent doesn't do. So as an example, code quality, when I'm working with that agent, didn't ever change the behavior of what I'm working on or what it's working on. Structure only, same behavior. So in theory, shouldn't really change tests because the tests are in that behavior. It should change, the results in terms of shouldn't break public interfaces, refactor without approval, skip validation, or create undocumented code. And again, I've been very specific about things all being in one place. So rather than having another set of standards for documentation here, they're all in one file. They're all in that documentation instructions file. And so think about custom instructions as the standards that you want to follow. And the analogy I thought about with it is, imagine it's like the onboarding playbook for one of the new devs on your team. Those are the instructions files. Those are the standards we use, the kind of overall processes that we should follow globally across the code base, or even based on certain file types or that kind of thing. So those are the things that just apply wherever. But then the custom agent is right, Chris works on this team. Chris is a code quality specialist. What is the process that Chris follows and should follow? And so there's a difference there. The Custom agents are more of like the specializing the agent and giving them that kind of specialized capability. The instructions are then what all people in the code base should follow, or all agents. So that was a really important thing, because what I found that I was doing, I'm going to go full screen again actually. What I found I was doing was I was re-clarifying across so many different areas of my instructions what the documentation should look like, what testing should look like. And what I found was I was either duplicating or just had inconsistent information across the code base. So I was like, right, needs to stop. One file for my documentation structure, one file for my testing expectations, put them in the instructions file, because it doesn't matter who's doing that. That is the standard that we follow. And then where it's relevant, like my code quality agent, make sure I reference that file as a bit of a hint to the agent when it's working on stuff. So then it reads that file and goes, okay, now I know all this stuff. Let me go and start work. So that's where that separation of concerns in terms of instructions and in terms of agents is important. What I've also done is kind of made like different modes that some of the agents can run in as well. So either it's a standalone thing where I've invoked it directly, or if one of my manager agents is going and invoking it, then I'll go and analyze and implement, and then kind of reanalyze the scope, etc. The real important thing, particularly with like this code quality agent or some of my managers, and in fact, we'll take a look at maybe one of the managers a little bit as well, is having this workflow. I did something kind of intriguing, kind of interesting. And good morning, Team Craziness. Good to see you. It was either yourself, Team Craziness, or maybe it was Surly. It was one of you last stream mentioned about specs and planning and kind of writing out what you need to go and build. I've kind of iterated on that. I've got some manager agents here now that will go and write a spec and iterate on jobs to be done, and really clarifying that the spec is the what we want to go and build, and asking those clarifying questions to go and frame that. And then I've got like a planning manager agent, which will then go and take that report, because I make sure there's always a markdown report, and transform that into what are the execution steps to go and take. And then from there, we have an implementation agent as well. And those agents then also rely on those specialists to kind of review for certain areas. So like, hey, what do we need to think about from a test perspective? We need to think about from a performance perspective, accessibility perspective, etc. It's been super, super interesting. The important bit has been having this workflow clearly defined. You know, different phases, what should it do in each phase? Because sometimes we're very implicit in what we want these things to go and do. The thing I've really found is if I need an agent to go and do something, sometimes language is hard, you know? Language is very, very hard. And sometimes we say things and they can come across the wrong way. And that's the same with these AI tools. We communicate in natural language. And so sometimes we think we're communicating something, but we're not. But what I've actually found that I've started doing a lot more is using the, I don't know if anyone knows it's used a lot in consulting. It's called the Moscow method. And you define your requirements using must, should, and could. So must being things that you have to go and do, should being things that ideally things you should do, and could being the, if we can, great, but you know, it's not a hard requirement. The thing that I found is for those things that it must do, using you must and putting the must in capital letters and then bolding that really makes sure that the agent follows those instructions then in terms of that kind of process piece. That's been really interesting. And again, you can see here, run that validate iteration once all change is complete. There we go. Stopping rules again. When should the agent stop? If it feels like it's about to go and make some code changes that it shouldn't go and do. If validation fails, for example, when are the times that the agent should stop? If you think again about that process flow, those kind of phases, when should the agent stop? Error handling. What does it do if it encounters errors? So, if there's a file not found, ask the user to confirm the path. If there's circular dependencies, document that cycle, recommend extraction. You can see we're being super, super explicit in what to go work. And actually what I do then as well is we've got this kind of schema defined really, that if the agent is communicating back to like a manager, communicate with this structure that you completed, these many files were split, these functions were extracted, these are the blockers, etc. So again, take a look through those. It's been a really interesting learning experience there. And I've been keeping the watch on the chat as well. Thanks, folks. All the good comments as well. So, what I was thinking was it'd be fun to make a new theme, right? Let's do it. So, of course, one of the things that was super important to me when I was building this was making sure we had a very clear path to creating new themes. And so if we scroll down in my README, there's a good contributing section here. If you want to go and open an issue, report a bug, obviously you can do that. Fix something, you can see the open issues or the contributing guide. Or if you want to build a theme, you can take a look at my theme development page here. And it explains a bit about the architecture. So I've got an orchestrator, which is like the core of the app. And then we've got the themes then. So the themes are really just renderers. There shouldn't really be any kind of date logic for like time in there. That's all handled upstream by my core app. You can handle like animation state and things like that. That's absolutely okay. That contribution graph theme does that. But it should just focus on rendering. That's really kind of the goal of the themes. And so I've got a quick start page here that we can go and run. So if I jump into my terminal, reading through the chat. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're asking me to do, saying I'm speaking and not paying attention. I can confirm I am paying attention to the chat, but it sounded like you were all talking about some other repos. So, didn't want to interfere in that chat. So let me know if there was something you were needing from me there, Fo. Right, let me carry on with this then. So we've got this create theme script here. So if I go to my JSON, in here you'll see I've got a command for theme. There we go. And it basically just calls one of my script start page, so CLI script. Shenzad, what's Rubber Duck Thursdays about? It's an informal kind of casual stream where we just go and build stuff. We learn together, we develop, we code, and we just go and do stuff. So, yeah, come and hang out, come and learn with us, and come and build. That's what it's all about. And Alan, great. Hopefully I've answered all the questions, but if I've missed anything, please let me know. I think I've caught everything that's been coming up, so appreciate it. Yeah, the things in the background always get a mention. I'm a big sci-fi geek. I'll let you figure out which one that is. Right, so so this is what this script does here. So it's like a thing that I can go and use for. Just go and clear that. Oh, in fact, actually, did I? I think I found my first documentation needs to go and update here. I think I cleared that one. I have. There we go. So I need to go and update my docs. It should be npm run theme. Then I have create subcommand. Then you pass in the name of your theme. And so what this will do, if we go and take a look at the code, is I've got a script in here going and creating the theme. Here's my theme CLI. We go and pass through, the user's kind of inputted there. And it will go and call the relevant method. So there we go. We've got our run create theme. And then it's basically going and running node script for that create theme, passing the parameters down. So if I do that, what it's basically doing is scaffolding out a theme. So it'll register it in the theme registry, so like a config that I've got. It'll update the sitemap, and it'll create a load of base files, config, some renderers, some test utilities, a load of different pieces there. So again, if you're interested, you can go and take a look at that. npm run theme create ring. Right, so you can see now, I've got 17 new files. If I go and take a look, and we'll see what it's done. It's updated the sitemap for us. We've got the 18th now is my last publish. In my registry, we've now got the ring config. So we kind of take the name of that theme and import the right things in there. Then it imports that theme into the core registry, so it becomes available into the theme selector. An assets file, so we can kind of recognize if you used any open source projects or libraries or things there as well. Tests, etc., and all of those different pieces. So what this one does, this kind of one that I've scaffolded out, which was kind of fun, is it just makes a ring on the page. Let me go and look at my local instance. There we go. Let me refresh. Have I got that cached, maybe? I see it on my other screen, but not on this one. I think I might be cached. There we go. I'm cached. So you can see here that we have got this new ring theme. It doesn't look great, does it? It's got no image there. But again, that's okay, because I've got another script which will use Playwright. And this isn't Playwright MCP. This is Playwright, what is used for testing, to go and generate previews. So I can go and say generate previews. And if I don't pass in a theme name, it'll do it for them all if there's none existing for them. Use force, or I can say theme equals ring, and it'll just do it for that ring theme then for us. So it'll go and generate according to the sizes that we need. So WebP, the format, the file sizes for like the README, for the preview, for light and dark mode. it'll go and make those. And you can see now we've got this nice little thumbnail for the ring theme. And it changes depending on if we're in light or dark mode as well. So if we go for that ring theme and then go for a minute again. Hello. Do that. It's kind of cool. It's just like this ring that is like pulsing, and then it kind of changes over time. Again, just a theme to be scaffolded that you can go and try out if you did want to go and build a theme for the project. And of course, this is just a baseline. This is just something to help you get started, understand how the project works, understand, make your own theme. My wife wasn't quite keen on this theme, especially when it went red. She didn't like it, but I thought it was kind of cool. So we've all got our preferences of what we like to see. So you'll see in the kind of the 10 seconds, it kind of starts pulsing a bit quicker and gets a little. No, it doesn't pulse when music's played. Tame Craziness. I haven't got any kind of sounds or music at the minute. It's something I've been thinking about how to kind of bring that in. But I think I wanted to get like just that base level of complexity first. Yeah, so no, not yet. But hey, that could be a great theme suggestion, Again, if we switch between light and dark mode, you just get that seamless switch because again, it's just the theme is just a renderer. The state and everything behind the scenes is kind of managed on behalf. So I'll probably go and commit that theme now because I was waiting for this stream to go and commit that one. But that will now be the kind of the default scaffolded theme anyway that people can go and so I'll go and commit that to the stream. There we go. Right. What else? I mean, we're coming up to an hour here, folks. Looks like oh, there we go. Yeah, I guess it does a bit. So we're coming up to an hour. It's probably a good point for us to go and stop before we dive into anything else. My plan is probably for the next couple of sessions focusing on this a little bit more because I can walk you through all of the things that we've done for like GitHub Actions, the automation side of things for Copilot, etc., and even for things like GitHub Issues as well. So as an example, if I go and do this, when you look at the GitHub Issues and you want to go and file an issue, you can log a new bug, you can log a new feature, you can log a new theme suggestion, for example. If we look at feature requests, you can specify, oh, sorry, no, not a feature request. If we do a bug, you can specify what theme it is, whether it's the contribution graph theme, whether it's the fireworks celebration theme. And what I've done is I have automated it so that when a new theme is detected, it will go and update the issue form. So it brings in that new theme or removes old themes that have been removed and all of those things. So even that infrastructure to help with that community engagement, I've got GitHub Actions there to go and help me automate some of that. It'll auto-assign labels. It'll go and do stuff, to help me manage all of this. So that's what we can maybe go and focus on next time, what I would say. So yeah, it's been a really fun project. Lots of different areas to focus on, lots of different areas which you can go and take a look at and maybe learn from. So folks, plan of action. What are we going to do next? I and the team are going to be all meeting next week. So I won't be able to stream next week because I'll be meeting all of my friends and colleagues across developer relations. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing folks, which means we will be skipping next week, but then we'll carry on the week after. So that will be on the 22nd? 22nd. So stay tuned for our next scheduled stream on the 22nd. I've been seeing some chat there about wanting to go and dig into GitHub Actions and runners and things there as well, and how we've been using that for the project. So that's what we can focus on next time. I guess if anyone's interested ahead of time, feel free to take a look at the project. Contributions welcome, because then that also means some of the issues will start getting created, the automation will happen, and we'll have things to go and look at as well. I will say that contribution graph theme, I've done what I can to make it performant, like reducing unnecessary rendering and all of these things. It can feel laggy, is what I found. I think it's because I'm doing a lot of relying on GPU to do the animations and things. So if anyone's a UI expert and wants to take a look, I'm sure there's better ways to go and do it. Would love to learn and would love to lab, so let me know. But again, it's open source. You can go and take a look, and you can go and contribute as well. Yes, LinkedIn user, you are all my friends too, indeed. But I get to go and see some of my friends that I don't get to see as often as I would like. So I will be back with you all in 2 weeks' time again. So yes, thank you for that comment. That's made me feel very, very welcome. So thank you. So with that, folks, once again, let me go and bring it up on screen once more. Bleach.io/timestamp if you want to go and check it out. Feel free. I've tried to comment as thoroughly as I can, along with Copilot, of course, across the resources like GitHub Actions, dev containers, issues files, all of those things. So it can be a good learning project for folks as well. So take a look through that. Again, contributions welcome. If you've got feedback, raise issues. And yeah, look forward to chatting with you all in a few weeks. So otherwise, folks, Happy New Year. And let's make it a great one. Let's all build some amazing things. And I hope that is a healthy one for you all. So until the next time, folks, in 2 weeks' time, I'll see you then. Until then, happy coding. No.